for survivors, warriors, and those who have lost to travel to Manhattan for events that PanCan has. And so we have just opened, or just started, and this is our inaugural event for PanCan Long Island affiliate. Thank you. As a national leader in the fight against pancreatic cancer, Pancreatic Cancer Action Network announced a bold initiative to double pancreatic cancer survival by 2020. This goal was announced in 2011, when the 5-year survival rate was just 6%. Today we have made significant progress with a survival rate of 9%, but we will continue to fight until we get to 2020 and beyond. We intend to achieve this goal by advancing research, building and sustaining federal support, providing resources for patients, families, and caregivers, and raising awareness for the world's toughest cancer. Each of you play an important role in helping to achieve that goal by volunteering, by donating, or by raising awareness in the community, as we are doing here tonight, those that we have lost. The event brings Long Island together to help rewrite the story of pancreatic cancer. We are all here for a reason. Some of us are here to honor and remember family members, loved ones, and friends. Others are here because of our commitment to wage hope and demand better for everyone who has been affected by this deadly disease. I would like to take a moment now to introduce Andrea Gatewood. Andrea is a nurse with the Nassau County Health Department, and here, did I?
Right.
Oh. I'm looking around. Okay, so I'll hand it over to Andrea for a moment.
Event with you guys. I'm glad. Recently, unfortunately, I had a family member that's actually been worked up, and hopefully, she does not have pancreatic cancer, but I can understand as a nurse all the trials and tribulations, but I applaud you guys, and I think you're doing an excellent job. I'm glad that this is an initiative that has come to Long Island, so God bless you as you continue. So on behalf of Edward P. Mangano, I am honored to present this proclamation to you. And this is for you.
Continuing with I want to take just a moment to thank the people that have worked with me and have become part of what is the core unit of PanCan's Long Island affiliate, because without them, this event would never be happening. There are a lot of difficult events. Events are very difficult to put together. This is one of the easier ones. But without having the connections and finding the right people and getting things done, of course I could never have done it on my own. So I would like to thank Linda Kraft, who's in the back of the room this morning. In the back is Abby Weiss, thank you, Abby. And Roseanne Simeone. That's the core unit, and without these wonderful women, we couldn't have done what we're doing. And without the support of the New York City affiliate, which I've been a member of for over a year now, just as a volunteer, we couldn't have been doing this either. So I want to thank two beautiful women that are here with us tonight from the New York City affiliate, Susan Burke, I'm sorry, Susan Burke, and with Susan Burke is Mineola Johnson. And with that, Mineola has some fresh news, kind of right hot off the press, that we just learned about yesterday, that she'd like to share with you with some other PanCan initiatives that go on a yearly basis. Thank you, Mineola.
Thank you, Barry. A great event, and I really want to thank Barry for really pushing to get this done and everyone who supported him. It's really a remarkable thing that you're doing. We need this out here. I've gone to the awareness days at Winthorpe and I see the need for it, and thank God it's here. So Barry, thank you. So fresh off the press, you know how we do advocacy, right? We go there, we go to DC in June, and we spend 2 days up there. 1 day of training, actually 2 days on the night. We got there Sunday night, training all day Monday, and then Tuesday we are on the road to meet all our legislators. And then when we come back, we send letters to these our legislators. And one thing that was in jeopardy was funding from the Department of Defense. Because of all the letters that all of us wrote, we are happy to say that crucial research funding for pancreatic cancer has been protected at the Department of Defense. And the DoD has been funding pancreatic research since 2011. And these are part of the peer-reviewed cancer research program. And they feel this money, this funding, fills critical gap for funding high-risk research. So we have made it, but it's not done yet. We need to do more. Because again, the NIH is being threatened. Once the NIH is threatened, guess which body gets threatened first? The NCI. The NCI gives funding for pancreatic cancer research. We have made remarkable progress since 1999, since we have been doing this advocacy. We can have that stop now. So tonight, I'm giving you homework. That you write to your legislators and let them know that funding to the NIH/NCI is unacceptable. We need that. We need to continue to do this high-risk research. We need early detection. We must have early detection. So a few things. This Sunday is Purple Light in Manhattan. I just have a blank on the park, but it's
Foley Square.
Foley Square, yes, thank you, and that's from 5 to 8. Then Advocacy Day in 2018 is June. Barry will have the information and he'll send it to all of you. You know, trust me, we need more. When we went there this June, we didn't have many of us, but we went to all of those legislators that represented the state of New York. It was a lot of walk, but we didn't care. We did it, and they heard us, and they saw us. We painted DC purple. If everyone in this room comes with us next June, can you imagine how beautiful DC will look in purple? Can you imagine that? Yes! All right, the next thing. Purpose Ride in New York City, April 2018, again at Prospect Park. And something very interesting that we just learned today, and we're hoping it will happen. Tomorrow morning, we may have the opportunity to ring the opening bell at NASDAQ. So let's go, right? And today is World Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day, so you're all here on a very special day. Thanks, everybody.
So I also want to remind anybody that knows anyone afflicted with pancreatic cancer to encourage them to contact the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network for free resources and support. You could visit the website at www.pancan.org or call 877-2-PANCAN. And now I sound like a commercial, but that's 877-272-6226. Also, after the program, Roseanne, Abby, Linda, Mineola, and Susan will also be downstairs to answer any questions that you have. And one of the things that we are going to be doing is, and this will go out in emails to everybody because we don't have a location picked yet, but on January 9th, we're going to run a social event where we're going to be asking anybody that may have any interest in becoming a volunteer for the Long Island affiliate to come and speak with us, where we will have an opportunity to tell you about the type of positions that are available that you can volunteer for, and that you can tell us what your strengths are and where you think that you may be able to provide strength in building the Long Island affiliate. So again, that after the program's over, when we're downstairs, we'll be able to go ahead and ask questions about that as well. So at this point, we have two speakers this evening. The first one is our survivor speaker. And being last year's survivor speaker at New York City's Purple Light, it can be a little intense and it could be a little overwhelming. But I met Terri Mitchell after I was diagnosed in July of 2015 on one of the Facebook online support groups that we were both members of. And then after my surgery in January of 2016, sometime thereafter, Terri started coming down to see some of her oncologists at one of the large city pancreatic cancer hospitals. And we met for dinner with a bunch of friends that had never met before. And so I don't want to take any thunder away from Terri, but at this point, Terri, why don't you come on up and share your story with us.
Well, he kind of stole my thunder because he told me who I was. So I'm just going to read. Good evening all, my name is Terri Mitchell, and I'm a pancreatic cancer survivor for the last 3 years and 5 months. It's quite an honor for me to be here speaking to you. I I have been married and divorced twice, and I'm the mother of my two beautiful children, Michael and Sierra, and my daughter-in-law, Sam, who are with me here tonight, along with my best friend, Jill Gardner. This is how my journey began. In March of 2014, I went to the emergency room for what I believe to have been a gallbladder attack. After the blood work and CT scan and all the other crap they did, I was told I had to have my gallbladder removed. They removed it, and it escalated from that point. I started itching from the top of my head to the very bottom of my feet. It was crazy. I was seeing a guy at the time that wanted to hit me with a newspaper, like a dog, because I just kept scratching. It was bad. So after becoming completely frustrated, when I kept getting told there was nothing they could do, finally I was sent to an allergist, who I at the first look thought I had scabies because I was so scratched up. He treated me for that, but also took blood and called me a couple of days later to tell me that my bilirubin level of 5.1, which is very high, normal is 1, was out of control. Here we are, now it's June, so 3 months later, I was told to go back to my surgeon and talk to him. I was severely jaundiced. Nobody said anything. It was just, doctors looked at me. The surgeon who did my gallbladder never said anything. I was immediately scheduled to see a gastroenterologist who did an ERCP. They put a stent in and found a tumor that was on the original CT scan, but missed. He told me at that point, the gastroenterologist told me he was 99% sure it was pancreatic cancer. I went numb. I mean, what do? I have a 13-year-old daughter, 25-year-old son. I want to see things happen for them. So, on June 6, 2014, a day I will never forget, is when I got the official diagnosis. I was devastated, numb really, not a clue as to what to do. I asked how much time I had and was told possibly 2 years. I looked at the doctor and said, hell no, that's not good enough. I called to get another opinion from another rather large and well-known cancer center. Off Jill and I went. And the outcome there was I had 11 months at the most. Again, I looked at the doctor and I said, oh no, I'll take the 2 years before I'm going to take the 11 months. The original surgeon who performed my gallbladder surgery decided he was going to perform my Whipple surgery. I had no knowledge and trust in him. And I went to have the surgery only to find out he was incapable of performing it, and he did a gastroenterostomy instead. This turned into the ultimate disaster, as I wound up with a really serious infection and spent Christmas in the hospital away from my kids. At this point, my brother and I had spoken. I had been estranged from my family for almost 6 years. He contacted me and told me he wanted to help. He works in the medical field in New Jersey. After asking around, he put me in touch with Dr. John Chabot and Dr. Michael Kluger. At this point, it was now December 2014. They agreed to perform my surgery after I did chemo and radiation. On February 23rd, 2015, my Whipple was performed in New York City. It was an 11.5-hour surgery to all the pockets of infection from the previous surgery. I remember waking up and being told they got the whole tumor that was very close to the mesenteric artery, and they took 14, I think it was, lymph nodes to be tested. 2 came back positive, and 1 was questionable. It was a long and hard recovery, but I made it. I have been on 5-FU and had a severe anaphylactic reaction to the oxaliplatin, which is one of the chemos in there. Also did Gemzar and Abraxane, losing all my body here, but hold this beautiful baby up. I can do it. I've had 2 recurrences, this last being in my own mental. And I just found out on October 27th of this year that my liver has taken quite the toll on. And I can no longer do treatment. Each time something has crossed my path with this journey, I have felt it, owned it, and moved on from it. This time it was a bit more of a challenge because there is no other option at this moment. I have a very, very strong faith, believe in the power of prayer, stay positive, keep a great sense of humor, have a wonderful family and friends, along with a ton of other people who are amazingly supportive. I'm also lucky and blessed to have my 2 kids, Jill, my brother, and my sister Sandy, as my rocks during this journey. I am a true warrior in this disease and plan to continue in just that fashion until I can no longer. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. I'm not looking for sympathy, only compassion and empathy for those of us who are fighting, lost the battle, or a family member, of a loved one lost to this monster. In parting, my last words to all tonight are, never, ever give up.
Terry's story is really why we're all here. I remember speaking to light, and at the time I was NED or no evidence of disease, and I have just last month had my first recurrence and had my first chemotherapy infusion and started treatment again just this past Friday. But one of the things that I said at last year's Purple Light was, when this monster comes back, to me or to whoever else it comes back to, because it always comes back. And when it comes back, it's a rough comeback. That thing's a monster when it comes back. There's got to be options. There's got to be treatment. There's got to be life. There's got to be quality of life. And that's why we're all here. And this is why I do what I do every day now. And yes, never ever give up. Thank you, Terri. Next I'd like to bring up a woman that I met at PanCan's Advocacy Day last June in Washington, D.C. We actually ended up paired together to go from congressman to congressman to congresswoman to congresswoman, and senator, see both of our senators. And Roseanne and I became friends then and have stayed friends ever since. And without saying much else, I'd like to introduce to you Roseanne Simeone, who has both been a caregiver and unfortunately is one who has lost as well. Roseanne?
Today, I am here as a previous caregiver and widow to a husband who died of pancreatic cancer. I am here to represent all those warriors who lost their fight to pancreatic cancer. I am here to continue to support all those warriors who are fighting the toughest battle of their lives. My late husband, Matthew J. Simeone Jr., lost his battle within a year of being diagnosed. I watched, supported, cared for, and loved him through it all. This was a man who was on top of his game as an inspector of community affairs for the Nassau County Police Department, who created and devised a public-private partnership security program that is now used worldwide. I will never forget the day he called me home from work stating, "I can't do this. I need you to manage my care." As days went by, I overheard him tell a close friend, "It's been a great ride." It was at that moment we both knew. How could we believe that we could win when we all had the common belief that this disease was known as a death sentence? As a caregiver and wife, every morning when my feet hit the floor, I knew I had a challenge ahead of me. Though my heart ached and I had my moments of doubt, I could never show him how much this hurt, even though I knew he knew. Throughout it all, I always managed to have a smile on my face, hoping to instill more faith in both of us and doing everything in my power to make sure we were going to be okay no matter what obstacles lied ahead of us. Shortly after his death, my late husband was honored in November of 2009 with the Purple Dome lighting right here in this building, and soon to be followed with many more posthumous awards that continue to this day. As many deaths do, my perception on life was totally altered. How could it be the same? Through the pain and struggle of it all, I found a new purpose: to help those currently fighting and to help keep the memory alive of those whom we have lost. At the beginning, I tried on my own to raise money and awareness. Through that, I learned we are stronger in numbers. No one should ever, ever go through this alone. I have since on numerous occasions gone to Washington, D.C. with PanCan and aided in pounding the pavement to push congressmen to support more funding for research and to join the Congressional Caucus on the deadliest cancers. Through those efforts, we have gained more traction than ever before, giving us more hope for survival than those years before. Through my mourning, I have learned ways to help myself get through the loss and pain, so in turn, I can help others through their journey. This year, I have created my first prayer tree to honor and pray for all those warriors who have and are currently fighting pancreatic cancer. I will continue to raise awareness for PanCan and to spread the word on their program, Know Your Tumor. While Matt was alive, he always laughed at me for my daily reading of the horoscope and saying it was hogwash. Shortly after his death, I read my horoscope for the first time since his passing. It depicted the serenity prayer. It was at that moment I knew that even though he wasn't here, he would always be here. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, and accepting hardships as the pathway to peace.
I was going to say a word about there's survivors in the room. Can I see a show of hands of survivors we have? I know there's Terri, I know there's me. Do we have any other survivors here? So take a look at that and, cringe, because that's what this disease are. As many people are in this room, we have 2 survivors here tonight. So I'm not going to go into the whole survivor thing, but because there are not a lot of us here. So we're going to finish the program tonight downstairs and outside. There are 2 parts of the program that are left. One is our name reading ceremony, and after our name reading ceremony, Nassau County is going to light the dome purple for us, which I believe will stay lit purple through Sunday evening. I want everybody to know that the name names will be read in alphabetical order by last name, so you can expect when the name of your loved one will be read. When you hear the name read, we would like you to please take your purple glow stick, break it, they look pink, I know. Break it, don't do it now, shake it, it will turn purple for you, and if you would, do your best to hold it in the air. We have probably about 35 to 40 names to read, so it's not going to take long. And then after that, we'll have a moment of silence, and then we'll have the dome lighting and the conclusion of the ceremony. Name reading ceremony, everybody, and I'd like to introduce again one of my core teammates, Abby Weiss, who's going to do our name reading. Thank you. And again, just as a reminder, when you hear the name read, break the glow stick, shake it, and if you keep it held in the air for the remainder of the ceremony, that would be great.
Good evening. Linda Accardi. Brad Arnett. Big Steve Ryan. Coy Burke. Frank Davis. Johnny Rock Donovan. James Edward Ellis. Robert Falk. Eddie Farrell. Carrie Feldman. Roseanne Fiandola Clefsato. Eric Freund. Allison Gregory. Joseph Grimaldi. Dr. Michael Guttenberg. Mark Head. Robert Hyman. Cheryl Johnson. Terri Mitchell. Barbara Coco Kosher. Ellen Laurie. Zell Mackler. Michelle Malanga. Michael Malanga. Aspasia Malakudis. Mary McGibbon. Cece Meng. Linda Malazzo. Terri Mitchell. Edward Reinhardt. Barry Ryder. William Rosfold. Nat Shore. Maya Sklier. Matthew Simeon Jr. Ruby Stevenson. Helmut Sterling. Armand St. Just. Nigel Toomer. Hillary Uzen Van Scoy. Jeffrey Weiss.
A moment of silence, please. Mineola represents the passion, the commitment, and unrelenting spirit in the fight against pancreatic cancer. It represents the strength of our community, and most importantly, it represents our hope. I encourage everyone to carry this hope with you and continue to fight this deadly disease. I hope that your passion for this will I'll start again. I hope that your passion for this cause will continue to burn bright when you leave here tonight. And I encourage each of you to demand better and join us as we wage hope right here in Nassau County, Long Island. So, thank you for the name reading, and now we're going to light the dome. So,
Step up on the stairs where you were before.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, now everybody turn around. Make friends with your neighbor. Wage hope. Hold up.
Wage hope.
Wage hope.
Wage hope.
Wage hope.
Wage hope.
Wage hope. Wage hope. Wage hope. Can you take a picture of us? Sure. Right here. Right here. Okay. Everybody in the back, you gotta kind of come up just a wee bit. Big Stevie. Got it. Eddie Fat. Eddie Samuel. I know a few people. Does everyone feel like it?
Smile.
Wait.
I want it too.